Welcome to episode 28 of Deeper Perspectives, the greatest spearfishing podcast in the world. Today, we have a special guest, champion spear fisherman, 100-meter freediver, and instructor, Kurt Chambers. He's going to take it from here talking a little about lung volumes.
Lung volumes are actually a really interesting way to realize what our depth potential is in freediving. Something that I address in my class, and I'll go ahead and share that right now. We recognize a lot of different lung volumes, but a couple of key ones are total lung capacity, the total amount of air that you can fit in your lungs. Then there's something called residual volume. When we perform a full exhale, a forced exhale, you can't actually eliminate all the air from your lungs. There's actually going to be some residing behind, hence the residual volume. And in a typical individual, that's going to be around 25% of the total lung capacity. So when you do a full forced exhale, in other words, you're going to leave about 1/4 of the air in your lungs, no matter how hard you push. And then one more key lung volume that most everyone's had measured by a doctor at some point is vital capacity. And all that is the difference between total lung capacity and residual volume. So that's going to be about 75% of the total lung capacity. So anyway, as I mentioned, there's a typical ratio of total lung capacity to residual volume, and that's usually 4-to-1, making the residual volume 25%. And it's interesting to realize how that relates to one's depth potential. In my first class, I help my students try to reach 100 feet or 30 meters. And that is the depth where most individuals, if they're new to those depths, will typically kind of hit the ceiling or hit the wall on equalization. They'll get to that depth and they may feel perfectly fine oxygen-wise, but they will fail to be able to equalize their ears anymore. And basically, the deeper you go, the greater the pressure, the more the air inside your chest compresses. And by the time you reach 30 meters, your chest will have compressed to 1/4 of its total of the original capacity, and that's because the pressure is 4 times as great down at 30 meters or 100 feet. 30 meters is usually kind of the limit for a lot of people for equalization, but obviously freedivers, including myself, are going much, much deeper. As Derek mentioned, I've gone 100 meters now. Basically, we're wandering into advanced topics here, but I do also teach an advanced class where I share, I guess you could say, the secrets of deep equalization. But a key component of that is going to be working on chest flexibility to improve the ratio of total lung capacity to residual volume. Something that almost everybody has probably heard of and may be curious about is something called packing. And this is another part of my chest stretching routine, but also a short-term solution to increasing the total lung capacity side of the ratio. It also does carry a fair amount of risk. You can overexpand the chest and cause injuries like tearing muscles around the chest wall, even breaking ribs. So it is something that you have to do with some guidance and really gradually. As I mentioned in my advanced class, I do help people do this stuff safely. Using this advanced technique of packing, I actually can add quite a lot more air. Now we can also consider the inward chest flexibility. How can we work on that? And that's something that most freedivers would agree is more important than the outward chest flexibility as far as going deep. I'll show this negative diaphragm stretch where you'll see just how flexible my chest has become now.
coming up with about 5.5 liters. Having demonstrated a 5.5 liter vital capacity, Kurt will now show the gains to be had by packing. Incredibly, with packing, Kurt has displaced 8.5 liters. So that may seem like an enviable lung volume, but bear in mind at over 300 feet, Kurt's down to 1/11 of that, so he'll have less than 1 liter. Obviously, there's a lot more to deep freediving than just being able to hold your breath for a long time. You can contact Kurt Chambers personally on his webpage or at kurtchambers@gmail.com for more information. Stop by and let him know you appreciated it. I appreciate you watching. See you next time.